Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Matthews, for bringing the bill forward. I do think the underlying concept behind it is good, but I want to talk about one concern that I do have. As we have spent the last, 6 or 7 years now talking about the expansion of broadband here in Minnesota and working really hard to get our rural communities up to speed where they can participate in today's economy. And as many of you know, and Senator Matthews, I'm sure that you'll agree, it's been a real challenge. And the state has invested a lot of money over the last number of years trying to bolster our border-to-border broadband grant program, trying to leverage additional federal monies and additional private investments in order to build out our network, because we want our rural communities to be successful. We want everybody in Minnesota to have the ability to succeed. And I think one of the things that is perhaps an unintended consequence of the underlying bill is that it highlights to me winners and losers. And when I say winners, I talk about those communities that have access to adequate broadband capabilities, where their businesses are able to compete in today's market, where their school children are able to do their homework online, and where they're able to be successful in today's modern economy. And some of the losers are those communities where we haven't really had the ability to get enough of an investment into this border-to-border broadband fund. So to me, it kind of points that out. And I think back towards the beginning of session and perhaps towards the end of last session, we had Governor Dayton that was in support of significant investments in the border-to-border fund. We've now got Governor Walz on board that's been supportive of $70 million into the border-to-border broadband fund. We've got the governor's task force that has made a recommendation that the legislature invest $70 million into the border-to-border fund. We've got our Rural Broadband Coalition that's been advocating so hard here all session, trying to get this investment. And last week we had the opportunity to hear Senator Westrum's bill, where we were very grateful that they were able to find $30 million to invest in the border-to-border fund. But it's not enough, and I think we all know that. Our rural communities are continuing to struggle, and we have the ability and the opportunity right now with a one-time appropriation perhaps to find a way to fund that. So I think it's time that we have a serious discussion about finishing the investment in our rural broadband build-out. We know we have a ways to go, but I think that we can do it, and I think this underlying bill of Senator Matthews is a really good opportunity to perhaps take that step. And with that, Mr. President, I would like to offer the A2 amendment.
Senator Simonson offers the A2 amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment.
Senator Simonson moves to amend House File 2181 as follows. Page 2 after line 10, insert. This is Amendment A-2.
To the amendment, Senator Simonson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This is a fairly simple amendment, although it's a lot of money. It is $5 million in fiscal 20 and another $35 in fiscal 21 appropriated to the border-to-border broadband fund account. And as I've just kind of laid the bases, as you've heard, and many of you know this already, about the need for investment all across Minnesota in our rural communities, this would give us the opportunity to pass an appropriation out of the general fund, a one-time appropriation of another $40 million, coupled with Senator Westrum's $30 million. That's a total of 70 where I come from, and that's exactly what the advocates are asking for, and I think it's a good opportunity for us as the Minnesota Senate to invest in rural Minnesota. So I would encourage a green vote.